Professor Brown, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we have 2 weeks until the election. We have Donald Trump flipping burgers in McDonald's. We have Kamala Harris preaching in the church. So are these desperate last attempts to win over voters?
Yes, it feels like it's a mad scramble to see whoever's left, whoever maybe hasn't made up their mind, but it's also all kind of backwards. You know, Donald Trump is cosplaying as working class, Kamala Harris is preaching to the church and talking about her guns. So it's like the 2 candidates have switched where they should be.
So how bizarre is it that Kamala Harris is now saying she's a proud gun owner and that she wouldn't be afraid to use her gun if someone robbed her house?
Well, it's odd, especially for a Democrat from California, right? Tim Walz, who's from Minnesota, that's a more rural state. You expect them to talk about guns and hunting and stuff, but she's talking about, no, I have a Glock for self-defense at home, and it's not normal for Democrats to talk like that.
But still 2 weeks before the election, the latest poll shows the candidates are neck and neck. How is this possible, that they're so close?
I don't know. No. It's probably because, I mean, the United States is, through years, it's so polarized that there's just nobody is really willing to move one way or the other, regardless on what happens, apparently. You know, so we're so much locked into the Democratic side, the Republican side, so there's just a very narrow sliver of people who will decide this election.
You have family and friends in the U.S., so what do they say? What is the atmosphere like now?
It's tense. Everybody is worried. Everybody's worried about, you know, violence after the election, what will happen depending on who wins. I mean, it's very unsettling.
What's interesting to me, Black and Latino voters could prove to be decisive in this election. How surprised are you that Donald Trump is gaining support among these groups, especially if we know that he is very vocal about like anti-immigrant stances, and on the other hand, Kamala Harris is a black woman.
Yes, it's sort of shattering all of the preconceptions we had about demographics, especially because this is happening among younger people, and younger people, if we look back to like Obama, they were more left, more progressive and stuff, and so the main reason, as far as I can understand it, what interviews and polls are saying, is that people are very dissatisfied with what's happening in the United States right now, and Trump is the candidate of dissatisfaction.
When you're mentioning young voters, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. What do you think this will bring her? Will she motivate young voters to go out and vote?
Well, after she posted her message, there was an increase in people enrolling for registering to vote. But to be honest, I mean, the whole thing is weird for most of us because, you know, the idea that I'm not going to vote and then some celebrity says you should vote for this person and then someone's like, oh, yeah, I'll do that. You know, I mean, it's so weird, so it's hard to tell.
On the other hand, Trump has the endorsement of the richest man on the planet. Elon Musk is now giving away $1 million every day to newly registered voters. Do you think this will help Trump?
I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, it's probably illegal. So in that sense, it seems to be in Trump's corner of what he does. You know, it's so weird. It's so unprecedented that it's hard to know how it will impact. However, it might just seem a little bit condescending, like I'm the billionaire and here's your millions of dollars, peasants, dance for me, so that could backfire.
What's interesting, Donald Trump was found guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business documents, but this doesn't seem to bother his voters. Neither do the lies that he's telling, for example, that the immigrants are eating dogs. How do you explain this? He seems like a messiah to a lot of people in America. What is his secret?
He's entertaining.
Yeah.
And
it's enough.
He's rich, he's entertaining, he's white-ish. I mean, I mean, honestly, this is a question that baffles everybody. We don't understand it. It's like reality no longer matters. Whatever Trump says, people believe. And, you know, it's just, I'm sorry to say that, I don't know.
Do you think that the assassination attempt that he survived will bring him votes? He certainly tried to make the most of it. He even sold the cutout pieces of his suit when he got shot. So do you think he's going to make the best of this?
I mean, again, so it's helping his base, but we haven't seen the polls move that much. You know, usually in this type of event, you would see a big jump in the polls, but now everything's locked in because the people who liked him before like him after. The people who didn't don't.
Yeah. How big of a part do you think the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East will play in the election? So the Joe Biden administration has been supporting Ukraine, giving them billions of dollars. Same with Israel. Will this prove to be a burden to Kamala Harris?
Yes, I think it will, because for the people who are dissatisfied with the status quo, Donald Trump gets to say, look, we're sending all this money to all these foreign countries. We should put it here first in America. We should spend it on you. And so it's hard for people who are not following politics, who don't really have an understanding of the geopolitical world, to say, like, yeah, why don't I have health care and Ukraine has a bunch of missiles?
Yeah.
You know?
But on the other hand, like, supporting Israel is also bringing people against Kamala, no? Or bringing votes to
yeah,
Trump.
I mean, that's kind of bonkers, because one of Donald Trump's big bases is the evangelical community in the United States. They overwhelmingly support Israel. So anybody who doesn't support Kamala because they think Trump is going to somehow be tougher on Israel is really misguided.
But the polls show that she's losing, like, the Arab votes, right?
Yes, and I think that it's not so much that they'll vote for Trump as maybe they'll stay home and not vote at all.
What do you think, would you think America and the world would change if Donald Trump won the second term?
Oh my God. Sorry. I think it'll become a less stable place. I think NATO will be threatened. I think Putin will be emboldened. And I think in Gaza and in Lebanon, Netanyahu will have a freer hand. And I think, honestly, Donald Trump will try to seize control of the U.S. central bank and destroy the currency and raise tariffs too high so that the global economy crashes.
Okay, so that's a very pessimistic outlook on
that's
when
why I'm
Trump.
laughing.
But are you worried about the possible riots if Donald Trump gets elected again?
Yeah, I'm worried about violence if he gets elected. I'm worried about violence if he doesn't get elected. He has not changed his rhetoric. He's still as, endorsing violence and militant behavior among his supporters. Those supporters are still out there. And so we're just sort of waiting to see what happens.
If Kamala Harris wins, she will be the first elected female president of the United States. But it kind of seems that she's downplaying her gender, unlike Hillary Clinton 8 years ago. Why is this?
Well, I think because I kind of learned a lesson from Clinton, right? So as the potential first woman president, you can't run based on that, because then everyone's going to say, oh, well, she just got the job because she's a woman, right? As if it's that easy, because that's why we've had so many women presidents in the United States. Yeah. So she has to be very careful. Same thing with her minority status. She cannot run as a minority. That all just has to be apparent, but then she has to walk it very carefully. So
let me ask you a little bit of a personal question. You came to Croatia from America, from Oklahoma, right? You married a Croatian lady. You wrote 2 hilarious books about the Croatian experience. From your perspective, what are some of the things that are uniquely Croatian?
Your love of coffee. And I don't mean the actual beverage, but I mean the long hours
of sitting.
Yes,
of
sitting.
To sit and drink coffee.
And also sort of respect for things that I wouldn't think were traditions, that like soup. You have to have soup on Sunday and stuff like that. These things I found.
You wrote about punica, the role of punica, slippers, papuče. This is one of the main motives of your book, right?
I mean, the biggest difference is that in Croatia, when it comes to food, and you wonder, do we have enough food? The answer is always no.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Brown, for this interesting interview. I'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Thank you.